So here I have some footage from July 23rd. It was a lower body day for me. Some back off sumo deads, pretty much deload, and then also the beginning of my taper for my lower body work. So I'll talk about the taper later briefly, but I wanted to touch on deadlifts here for a minute. So you can actually tell I did use some accommodating resistance, not a lot, albeit that, but this is probably something I will experiment with on my deload weeks where I actually do take off some intensity, take some weight off the bar for deadlifts. I decided to do that while running it with 531 just because it's worked so well for me in the past, and programming deadlift with the DUP fashion has been really difficult for me. So I've decided to just pretty much use 531 for the deadlift, stick to one time a week for now, and this would be something pretty cool to use some bands and stuff on my fourth week where the weights really aren't heavy. So I just used a micro mini band for this, and it felt a lot better, just like it does on the good mornings and on the glute ham raises that I do. I just feel it in my posterior chain a lot more than I typically do. So hopefully it'll help me. And again, not so much how it will help with like speed work and stuff like that, but it's fun, it's different, and it gets me excited to do some deload work. So today again wasn't heavy. This is my heaviest set today, was 225 for 5, and it felt really good. Like I talked about my last deadlift session about a week ago, I was doing kind of the one pump fashion I still have here, and today my two kind of things I was working on were keeping my hips a little bit higher when I was doing that one pump, so not squatting it up, but just trying to set my hips a little bit higher, and then also put most of my, as much as I possibly can, my body behind the bar. And sometimes I get really lazy with that, especially on the lighter sets, because I know I can get away with it. So like you see here at 155, I'm way out in front of the bar, it looks like. So really trying to focus on that. I kind of held these isometrically at the top just to get some more contraction of my glutes and hamstrings. But again, this felt really good today. I will be adding, probably 5 to 10 pounds on my deadlift for the next cycle of 531. Again, I will be doing the 531 pyramid style, so kind of 2+ sets, and I talked about that a little bit. But again, I would highly recommend checking out Jim Wendler's new book if you really want some more information on it. And there's a ton of new variables on that. So now on to squats. So I have been having some, I don't want to call them injuries, but just some nagging pains. And I thought about taking this week off from squats and just leg training in general, but I've really been hammering away the mobility. And you'll see here I actually have some voodoo floss on my right knee. And I did my first few warm-up sets with that on because I also did that yesterday on my upper body day just after my workout, and it felt like the pain is pretty much gone. It's kind of an awkward pain. It's like in my upper right calf, and it's like when I get really deep in my depth and my hamstring kind of runs in the back of my calf. There's kind of like a sharp pain right there on my right side. So I did invest in some Elite FTS knee sleeves that I'll be getting sometime soon, but for now I'm just kind of take it easy pretty much with that, and if it hurts too much, just call it quits. But today felt really good. And talking about the taper a little bit, again, I'll do a separate video on this if people are really interested, but pretty much this week I'm just cutting my volume in half. So instead of doing 4 sets of 4 to 6 today, I did just 2 sets. I did not back off the weight whatsoever. I stuck with my same percentages, and I actually beat last week's, I believe. I think I only went up to 295 last week, and this week I went up to 300. So again, I actually PR'd on the taper, so it's not, taper might have kind of a weak connotation with it, but it's not. It's just a back off in volume. Sometimes you can even PR, like even yesterday in my bench press, I PR'd above last week. So that's kind of how I'm running my taper, and then next week I anticipating adding 1 set back in. So you're pretty much going from 50% of your volume to 75%, and then back to 100%. And I think that'll be really good for me, as I haven't taken too many days off or deloaded in a while. So that was the training footage, guys. If you have any other questions for me, always feel free to ask them, and I'll see you next time.